You must yield for emergency vehicles? A. Under no circumstances. B. When you see a flashing red or blue light or hear a siren. C. Only when other vehicles yield. D. None of the above. B. When you see a flashing red or blue light or hear a siren. You must yield the right of way to any emergency vehicle that is using its siren or flashing lights. Drive below the posted speed limit when A. Anything makes conditions less than perfect. B. You see a police car. C. Entering a highway where there are other cars. D. You are on a 4-lane road. A. Anything makes conditions less than perfect. When the road is wet or slippery, when you cannot see well, or when anything else makes conditions less than perfect, drive below the posted speed limit. Even if you are driving within the posted speed limit, you can still be ticketed for driving too fast for conditions. When parallel parking between two cars, you should first A. Turn your wheels to the left. B. Turn your wheels to the right. C. Pull up even with the car in front of your desired parking space. D. Back slowly. C. Pull up even with the car in front of your desired parking space. After finding a parking space, checking traffic, and signaling, you should stop parallel to the vehicle directly ahead of your desired parking space before turning your wheel to park. Signaling your intentions before turning, changing lanes, or driving away from a curb. A. Is necessary only if other traffic is present. B. Is a good driving habit and is required by law. C. Is necessary only during the maneuver, not before. D. Is not necessary if the maneuver is done slowly. B. Is a good driving habit and is required by law. When changing lanes or turning, signal your intentions well in advance. The law requires that you signal for at least 100 feet before you move your vehicle to the right or left. Before pulling away from a curb, always signal to inform passing drivers of your intentions.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
When driving near a blind pedestrian who is carrying a white cane or using a guide dog, you should A. Slow down and be prepared to stop. B. Take the right of way. C. Proceed normally. D. Drive away quickly. A. Slow down and be prepared to stop. When driving near a blind pedestrian who is carrying a white cane or walking with a guide dog, you must slow down, yield the right of way, and then proceed with caution. Be prepared to stop your vehicle in order to prevent injury or danger to the pedestrian. What is a no zone? A. A designated no passing zone. B. A one-way traffic area. C. The blind spot of a large vehicle. D. An area designated for motor vehicles. C. The blind spot of a large vehicle. No zones are the large blind spots around trucks and other large vehicles. Drivers of smaller vehicles should avoid lingering in no zones. If you are involved in a serious motor vehicle crash, A. Stop. B. Call the police. C. Determine if anyone is injured. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If you are involved in a crash, move your vehicle off of the road and stop, if possible. If anyone is injured, Call 911 and provide appropriate help. You must report the crash to law enforcement if there is an injury, a death, and/or more than $1,000 in property damage, or more than $200 worth of damage made to non-vehicle government property, such as signs or guardrails. If one of your tires blows out as you are driving, you should A. Brake hard immediately. B. Try to steer straight while gradually slowing by removing your foot from the gas pedal. C. Maintain your current speed and steer straight. D. Swerve back and forth to alert traffic behind you. B. Try to steer straight while gradually slowing by removing your foot from the gas pedal. If a tire blows out while you are driving, hold the steering wheel tightly and keep the car headed straight down the road. Ease your foot off the gas pedal and do not apply the brakes until you have complete control. When the car is under control, brake gently and pull off the road at the nearest safe location. Roads freeze quickly when they are A. Flat. B. Curvy. C. In the sun. D. Shaded. D. Shaded. In cold or wet weather, you should take special care on sections of road that are shaded by trees or buildings. These areas freeze more quickly than the rest of the road and are the last parts of the road to dry. To avoid collisions with vehicles in your blind spots, you should A. Quickly turn your head to see if your blind spot is clear before changing lanes. B. Adjust your rearview mirrors every few minutes. C. Honk your horn right before turning or changing lanes. D. None of the above. A. Quickly turn your head to see if your blind spot is clear before changing lanes. Before turning or changing lanes, turn your head and glance over your shoulder in the direction of your move to see if your blind spot is clear. Never rely on your mirrors alone. When you approach a railroad crossing without flashing warning signals or crossing gates, you should A. Cross the tracks immediately and as quickly as possible. B. Always stop before crossing the tracks. C. Prepare to yield to any train at the crossing. D. Speed up to beat any oncoming train. C. Prepare to yield to any train at the crossing. Always be prepared to yield to any oncoming trains before crossing railroad tracks, particularly if there are no lights or gates controlling the crossing. Never start to cross the tracks until there is room for your entire vehicle on the other side of the tracks. Due to the risk of a vehicle stalling, it is not wise to shift gears when crossing railroad tracks. Anything that requires you to fill in the blank could cause you to crash. A. Take your eyes off the road. B. Take your hands off the wheel. C. Take your attention away from the task of driving. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Anything that causes you to take your attention away from driving, take your eyes off the road, and/or take your hands off the wheel is a distraction. This sign means A. No U-turn. B. Two-way left turn. C. Minimum speed limit. D. No parking. A. No U-turn. Regulation signs regulate traffic speed and movement, displaying rules which drivers must obey. Wherever this regulation sign is posted, U-turns are not permitted. How fast you drive does not affect the distance your vehicle travels after you brake to come to a stop. A. True. B. False. B. False. When driving in high-speed traffic, it is extremely important to stay well behind the vehicle in front of you. As your speed increases, the distance it will take for your vehicle to stop also increases. This sign shows one type of A. Right turn. B. Intersection. C. Lane change. D. Road curve. B. Intersection. This sign indicates that AT intersection is ahead. What kinds of drugs can affect your driving ability? A. Allergy medicine. B. Marijuana. C. Cold remedies. D. All of these choices. D. All of these choices. Many kinds of drugs can impair your ability to drive. This includes illegal drugs and legal prescription or over-the-counter medications. It can be a criminal offense to drive while impaired by any drug. This sign is used to warn drivers about A. Upcoming intersections. B. Road construction. C. An upcoming curve in the road. D. Changes in traffic lanes. C. An upcoming curve in the road. This sign indicates that the road ahead curves to the right. A solid white line on the right edge of the highway slants in to the left. That shows that A. There is an intersection just ahead. B. You are approaching a construction area. C. You will be required to turn left just ahead. D. The road will get narrower. D. The road will get narrower. A solid line along the side of the road indicates where its edge is, marking the boundary between the travel lane and the shoulder. If the edge line angles toward the center of the road, this means that the road is narrower ahead. What does an orange-colored sign indicate? A. The start of a no-passing zone. B. A railroad crossing is ahead. C. A school zone is ahead. D. The presence of construction work. D. The presence of construction work. Construction, maintenance, and emergency operations signs are generally orange with black symbols. What are the colors of signs that tell you the distance to the next exit on a highway? A. Yellow with black letters. B. Black with white letters. C. Red with white letters. D. Green with white letters. D. Green with white letters. Signs providing information about destinations are green with white letters or symbols. An octagonal sign is always a A. Speed limit sign. B. Stop sign. C. Hospital sign. D. Railroad warning sign. B. Stop sign. Octagonal signs are always stop signs. Come to a complete stop when approaching a red, 8-sided sign. Which of the following statements is true? A. It is okay for drivers of other vehicles to follow motorcycles closely. B. A motorcycle with 2 people on it is more balanced than a motorcycle with just one rider. C. The driver of a passenger vehicle must change lanes completely when passing a motorcycle. D. Drivers of other vehicles can expect a motorcycle's brake lights to turn on when the motorcyclist slows down. C. The driver of a passenger vehicle must change lanes completely when passing a motorcycle. Motorcycles are entitled to the width of a full lane. Be sure your vehicle is entirely in the left lane before attempting to pass a motorcycle on the left. While driving, you come upon a sign displaying the words "Reduced speed, 35 miles per hour." This means A. That the new 35 miles per hour speed limit begins at this sign. B. That the new 35 miles per hour speed limit begins at the next speed limit sign. C. That you have plenty of time to slow down before the reduced speed zone. D. That you should reduce your speed to 35 miles per hour, but only under poor weather conditions. A. That the new 35 miles per hour speed limit begins at this sign. Reduced speed signs inform drivers that they must reduce their speeds. If a new speed limit is posted on one of these signs, the new speed limit begins at the sign. A speed limit is A. The maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under dangerous conditions. B. The maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. C. The suggested speed to travel on a road under ideal conditions. D. None of the above. B. The maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. A speed limit is the maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. You may drive more slowly than the posted speed, but it is illegal to drive any faster. You must drive more slowly where signs indicate a school zone or work zone speed limit. If conditions such as road construction or bad weather make the posted speed unsafe, drive under the speed limit. Do not pass. A. On a hill or curve. B. When school bus lights are flashing. C. When approaching an intersection. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You should never pass if there is an oncoming vehicle in the passing lane, if your view is blocked by a curve or hill, at an intersection, before or on a railroad crossing or bridge, or in any other no-passing zone. Unless you are on the opposite side of a multi-lane roadway with a median or shared center turn lane, you may not pass a stopped school bus that has its flashing red lights activated.